Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening. This is the National News Telecast. I'm Moin Hetjarachi.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Sharifa Tahir. Let's take a look at the headlines. US tariffs imposed on Sri Lanka down to 20%. Continued dedication of the government resulted in reduced tariffs, says the Finance Secretary. Economic experts say US trade tariff reduction paves way to diversify the Sri Lankan economy. White House says President Trump's America First policy is bearing fruits. Opposition also commends the reduced tariffs. A special revelation by the Prime Minister regarding school education of last year. Bail for former Minister S.M. Chandrasena and Dhanushka Veerakodi. Iran in a continuous process to banish Afghans in that country.
Now to those and more stories in detail on today's top story. The United States has reduced the tariff imposed on Sri Lanka from 30 to 20%.
The government announced that this outcome was the result of a successful series of negotiations pursued following the introduction of new tariffs by President Donald Trump on the 2nd of April. This development is expected to ease the previously unfavorable trade environment the country faced. The revised tariffs took effect early this morning following the White House's release of an updated tariff list covering 92 countries. According to the announcement, higher tariffs were imposed only on countries currently in dispute with the United States. Canada's tariff rate has been increased from 25 to 35%, with the White House citing Canada's failure to adequately enforce measures preventing illegal drugs from entering the United States. While it was initially suggested that Brazil would face a 50% tariff, President Trump ultimately decided to impose only a 10% tariff on Brazilian goods. Tariffs on Chinese exports remain at 30%, with negotiations continuing until the 12th of August to determine any adjustments. Among the highest tariffs under the new structure is the 40% rate on goods from Syria. Similarly, goods from Laos and Myanmar will now face a 40% tariff, while Iraq, Serbia and Switzerland have each been assigned a 35% rate. In contrast, President Trump has decided to significantly reduce tariffs for several Asian nations. Tariffs on Japanese goods exported to the United States have been lowered to 15%, while Indonesia, Malaysia and Thailand will see tariffs reduced to 19%. Alongside Sri Lanka, two of its key competitors in the apparel sector, Bangladesh and Vietnam, will now face a 20% tariff on exports to the US. Previously, Sri Lankan goods were subject to a 30% tariff, but as per the White House announcement, that rate has now been reduced by 10 percentage points, meaning Sri Lankan exports will henceforth face only a 20% tariff. After the introduction of the new tariffs on the 2nd of April, the Sri Lankan government initiated discussions with the US Department of Commerce. Sri Lanka was among the first nations to enter these talks. As a result of these efforts, by the end of the 90-day negotiation period, the Trump administration had already reduced tariffs on Sri Lankan goods from 44% to 30%. Excluding China, Sri Lanka was one of the countries to benefit from one of the largest tariff reductions. The White House announced that the newly revised tariffs would take effect today. Prior to this, a second round of discussions was held last week, during which President Anurakumara Dissanayake engaged virtually with the head of the US Department of Commerce. As a result of these discussions, the Trump administration granted Sri Lanka an additional 10% tariff concession, which came into effect this morning. The government has emphasized that this achievement is a direct outcome of its timely and well-coordinated diplomatic efforts.
Secretary to the Ministry of Finance, Dr. Harsha Surya Peruma, said the United States tariff reduction on Sri Lankan exports to 20% marked a progress towards one of the country's key trade consecutivs. He made these observations during the government media briefing to announce a reduce in US tariff rates. The Sri Lankan secretary said that the continued competitive of the exporters and entrepreneurs was central to the negotiations.
The opportunities are there for our businesses to get connected, more access, more openness in those negotiations and discussions. So we are yet to finalize on the finer points and details relating to specifics on those lines, but the intention is to allow Sri Lankan entrepreneurs, businesses and industries to access the technology that is available, that is getting developed, being advanced on a routine basis, for our industries also to tap onto those knowledge bases. Particularly, we need to appreciate and be thankful, be appreciative of President Trump's approach to facilitate and recognize the effort that Sri Lanka has put forward, and given the challenges Sri Lanka is going through, President Trump has provided these benefits to Sri Lanka. And the team from US and the teams on the ground who was coordinating from Sri Lankan side also has played a tremendous role in facilitating. Now it is collectively up to us to take those discussions to the next level, take the advantage of these benefits that we got, work with the industries, work with our entrepreneurs and businesses, provide facilities that they need, and to increase, build up their capacities and to get the maximum benefit by capitalizing on this opportunity.
He said that Sri Lanka's offer to the US involved providing market access on non-discriminatory competitive basis rather than through direct government-to-government agreements.
Apparel industry.
Sri Lanka is a net importer when it comes to products like energy, and when it comes to importation of raw material, when it comes to importation of advanced machineries. So Sri Lanka imports a significant amount into the country for use of our industries, for use of our businesses, at the same time for our consumption purposes also. Wherever there is a possibility, since Sri Lanka is importing these items anyway, we were discussing how to open up market without any discrimination. So that's a key element to minimize any restrictive type of, either whether it is tariff or para-tariff, to look at them in a very constructive manner and see where is the space for Sri Lanka to open them up. So as I said, it is an ongoing discussion. So we have considered specifically on certain areas such as the energy sector, and we are trying to see how Sri Lanka can get a better price if possible, given there will be a lot of shipments coming towards the region in the future based on these trade negotiations. Perhaps Sri Lanka will be able to benefit and might be able to get a better price also. So our approach is to ensure to provide competitive access, market access on a competitive basis for US suppliers. Instead of G2G engagements, it is US businesses who will be considering supplying to Sri Lanka. One angle is tariff angle, other side is on trade facilitation. I'm sure there are many requirements, challenges sometimes when it comes to importation and exportation, both local side, our businesses, as well as exporters from other countries. So national single window is a very interesting one. The approach that the government has taken in terms of zero tolerance for corruption is another very important step. Increasing efficiency at all board agencies and other agencies is another very important element. Zero tolerance for corruption, thereby reducing the cost of doing business in Sri Lanka. Those are very important milestones. Similarly, the governance enhancement approach that has been adopted by the present government. So these are multiple angles. It is much beyond a limited number of products. What we can offer as a country, given the IMF framework that we are in also, may not necessarily be limited to the products or services. It will be beyond, as I explained, in terms of governance enhancements, in terms of reducing cost of doing business in Sri Lanka, in terms of increasing efficiency in Sri Lanka. So our offer is a wholesome one, factoring, opening up market, making doing business easier in Sri Lanka. I'm sure many others will benefit from this engagement, including local businesses as well.
Chairman of the Sri Lanka Export Development Board, Mangala Vijay Singh, says the reduction of the tariff imposed by the United States to 20% marks a significant achievement for Sri Lanka. He emphasized that the most important outcome of this development is the opportunity to further enhance Sri Lanka's exports to the United States.
USA has announced tariff for Sri Lanka is 20%. This is a very much good achievement from Sri Lankan side. So with the 44% tariff imposed, we face a lot of difficulties because how we compete in the international market. When you consider about the USA market is one of our key export destination, it represents more than 25% from our total export, and also from the apparel sector, USA market represents more than 38 to 40%, and the rubber sector represents more than 33% of the USA market. So therefore, it is very much important USA market for Sri Lanka export sector. And also, when you consider about our import, normally we are doing average 450 million per annum. So therefore, anyway, that positive trade balance in favor of Sri Lanka more than 2.5 billion from the USA. So with this 20% reduction, which is going to be implemented from 7th August, our key sectors have a very much positive impact. So this year we are planning to reach ever highest export achievement, 18 billion. So this information also very much important today, because today Export Development Board, we are celebrating our 46 years anniversary. So this day, this information, this positive news is very much important for us. So last 6 months we have reached 8.3 billion export performance, so which is the ever highest export achievement in Sri Lanka. So next 6 months our plan is to reach more than 18 billion. So therefore we are planning to reach more than 8 to 10% export growth from next quarter 3 and quarter 4 time period.
Exports industry leaders and economic experts have said the recent reduction in US tariffs has created an important opportunity to diversify Sri Lanka's economy. They welcome the tariff cut, noting that it enhances Sri Lanka's ability to compete more effectively, particularly within the region. The experts further said that this is an opportunity to movement away from the over-reliance of a single export destination and to adopt more diversified and strategic approach to international trade. Export Industry Leaders Association of Sri Lanka has welcomed and commended the significant progress achieved in the trade negotiations between Sri Lanka and the United States, which have led to a reduction in tariffs on Sri Lankan exporters to the US market, now lowered to 20%. Issuing a statement, the association expressed its sincere appreciation to the government of Sri Lanka and in particular to the dedicated efforts of the negotiation team. The statement has indicated that the achievement reflects a strategic foresight, persistence and professionalism in this team navigating a complex international trade environment to secure more favorable terms on Sri Lankan exporters. The association said the development is timely and much needed to boost Sri Lankan exporters, enhancing their competitiveness in key global markets and contributing to broad recovery and growth of our national economy.
The Joint Apparel Association Forum has welcomed the revised reciprocal tariff rate on Sri Lankan apparel exports to the United States, describing the change as a critical development for the sector. The updated rate brings Sri Lanka into closer alignment with regional apparel exporting peers. The forum expressed appreciation for the role played by the government in steering efforts to secure this outcome. The association also commended the negotiation team led by Dr. Harshana Surya Peruma, Secretary to the Treasury, for their continuous engagement following the initial tariff announcement in April. The forum has stated that the revised tariff structure preserves the country's competitive position in the US market, a key destination for Sri Lankan apparel. The association reaffirmed its commitment to advancing ethical labor standards, environmental sustainability and innovation in manufacturing, and expressed optimism that ongoing collaboration with the US could lead to deeper trade relations and future tariff reductions.
Tariff rate has been reduced up to 20%. That's a great achievement, not only for the government and whole Sri Lankans. So therefore, we have to analyze value chain and the supply chain of export and develop a very good strategic plan to export product diversification and the market diversification. Now we have to use this opportunity to diversify Sri Lankan export to the different market and different products. So this is what we should do right now. Having a strategic plan, properly fragmented, very application oriented, inclusive strategic plan is very important to create good platform for Sri Lankan export development.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the America First policy introduced by President Donald Trump is now bearing fruits. She says the U.S. economy is performing well despite warnings issued by experts highlighting negative aspects of the tariff process.
When new reciprocal tariff rates take effect, President Trump is restoring America's economic sovereignty by reducing our reliance on foreign countries, boosting investment in the U.S. to the tune of trillions of dollars, and creating hundreds of thousands of high-paying jobs.
Leader of the opposition, Sajid Premdas, expressed happiness regarding the reduction of U.S. tariffs in an X message issued by him. The message of Sajid Premdas says that the new tariff percentages Sri Lanka, Vietnam and Bangladesh have now arrived at a common stage. The US tariff for India stands at 25%. The leader of opposition added the efforts should be taken to get the present tariff rates reduced to 15%, thus providing a higher status for exports from Sri Lanka. According to him, negotiations for this purpose has been conducted with participation of a group of trade and economic experts. Meanwhile, parliamentarian of Samak Janabalawege, Dr. Harsha De Silva, also commented on the new tariffs. Parliamentarian Dr. Harsha De Silva said he was pleased about the reduction of tariffs for Sri Lanka from 30 to 20% under the new policy introduced by US President Donald Trump. He said that before engaging in all politics, the country needs to exist and function properly. Regardless of political affiliation, he expressed that the Sri Lanka must be prioritized as a nation. He explained that the country has previously faced a significant issue due to the tariffs, particularly because the US tariff imposition has created regional trade challenges for Sri Lanka. There has been serious concerns about how Sri Lanka could compete with other countries in the region under the trade. However, he said that now the tariff reductions, Sri Lanka had the opportunity to engage in more competitively international trade.
Issuing a statement today, United National Party commends the government and its team that have managed to end the US trade tariff talks successfully. In this statement, the UNP says that it accepts the move to further reduce reciprocal trade tariff ratios according to the new order issued by US President Donald Trump. The UNP stated that it appreciates the government and the team for successful completion of the talks. The UNP also requests the government to make a statement with regard to entering fruitful trade and security agreements under the backdrop. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya pointed out that about 20,000 students stopped their schooling halfway and 80,000 more students have not properly continued their school education. The Premier revealed these facts at a meeting held in the Kandy District Secretariat Auditorium yesterday. The meeting has been organized to enlighten education officers of the Central Province regarding proposed educational reforms and to entertain their views and proposals in this connection. The Prime Minister stated that 40,000 students are enrolled to the 17 state universities in the country annually. 15,000 more students entered vocational education sector. Some students are directed to vocational education after completion of advanced level examination and some are during the schooling period. The Premier also raised concerns of the officials about the fate of the rest of the students. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya said that although there were tens of thousands of schools in the country, when it came to schools that taught science, technology and mathematics, the number was quite limited. She stated that the data she had received from the Central Province highlighted a clear disparity in this regard. She explained that students' access to different academic streams was often limited by the schools they attended, and not every child had the opportunity to study every subject. According to the Prime Minister, a closer look revealed that there were significant inequalities within the school system, not just in terms of subjects offered, but also in teacher availability and other resources. She emphasized that it was the children who experienced these disparities who were ultimately evaluated through national level examinations. Dr. Amarasuriya asserted that this was not the responsibility of one political party or group, but rather a national issue. Therefore, she said a national dialogue must take place. She acknowledged that this dialogue would attract opposing views and criticism, but said that they were ready to listen. She added that they were prepared to make necessary changes where needed. However, she believed that the journey had to begin somewhere and that they could not keep delaying discussions any longer. She concluded by saying that it was already too late and that they would begin this process in 2026. Third Perahera of the historic Kandy Asela Perahera festival paraded the streets tonight. Vasana Mangala's Tasker of Khataragama Devalaya was carried the sacred relics casket.
The Rupavahini Joint Farmers Organization says the present government has taken commendable steps to protect the Rupavahini and its reserves, which can be considered as a heart of the Anuradhapura. The team headed by the president of the organization, Venerable Radgama Samit Thera, made the remarks following an observation visit made in the area with a group of farmers. Surveying the irrigation tanks and reserve commenced from the Rupavahini area in Anuradhapura. Recently, it has been desecrated reserves of 48 irrigation reservoirs within this year. Survey Department and the Department of Irrigation are jointly carrying out the demarcations and reserving the areas of the Rupavahini. The Rupavahini Joint Members Farmers Organization expressed confidence and accordingly encroachment of squatters and illegal constructions of hotel within the tank reserves would be stopped in the future.
Bank of Ceylon celebrates its 86th anniversary today. The BOC, which was opened on the 1st of August 1939 as the first commercial bank in Sri Lanka, has rendered a significant task in empowering the country economically and socially. It also continues the service at present. The BOC has been able to become a more confidential and the biggest financial service providers for its millions of customers with locally and internationally spread network for over 8 decades. While celebrating its 86th anniversary, the bank has recorded a profit of 106.9 billion rupees last year. It is the highest profit earned by a bank in Sri Lanka's history. The BOC, continuing its growth, has been able to record a pre-tax profit of 30 billion rupees by the end of the first quarter of this year. Chairman of the bank, Kavinda Soisa, attributed this development to the ability of facing challenges, innovation and entire economic empowerment of the bank.
Consultant Dr. Ishanta Pereira elaborates to the general public that in case of persistent cough, a respiratory consultant has to be consulted immediately. According to him, since it can be a pre-symptom of chest cancer, early identification can cure the disease. He made these observations in a media briefing held in the occasion of Lung Cancer Society Day today. Consultant Dr. Ishanta Pereira said that he was genuinely pleased about the reduction of tariffs from 30 to 20%, which has a significant concern. Previously, he emphasized, before engaging in politics, country must stable functioning regarding the political affiliations Sri Lankan will be put first as a nation. He stated that his belief reflects the person's values. According to him, the country has faced a major challenge to these tariff impositions. The concerns had always been about Sri Lanka could not manage to compete with other countries in the region under the prevailing US tariff regulations. However, he pointed out that with the recent reduction of tariffs, Sri Lanka had now been given a valuable opportunity to engage and compete in equal footing with other nations. Dr. Pereira clarified that he did not view this as a political victory, but as a chance for the country to move forward and seize global opportunities. Dr. Ishanta Pereira warned that if Sri Lanka failed to get advantages of opportunities and remain stagnant, it could become a national issue. He also acknowledged that President Anuradhapura deserved the credit for this development. Consultant Dr. Saman Iddagoda said that many people mistakenly believe they could not get cancer simply because they didn't smoke. He explained that some individuals assumed that they were safe from cancer just because they had personally didn't smoke cigarettes. However, Dr. Saman Iddagoda cautioned that the symptoms like persistent cough, coughing up blood, shortness of breath, chest pain or changes in breathing sounds could be signs of something more serious, such as lung cancer.
It is usually very difficult to trace an old book in case of an emergency. This is a significant place where book lovers can find out about rare books or magazines too. This bookstall is located near the Gamini Hall area in Maradana. This is not only a line of bookstalls but a library of very rare caliber. If anyone needs to purchase an old rare book, this is a sure place to find any type of extraordinary book. This is K.P. Bent Silva, who has been serving there for about 25 years. This is a place where old volumes as well as new print books in numerous languages are available. Books under various subjects and topics are also available here. Book lovers of various age groups representing numerous subject sectors throughout the island visit the place to satisfy their uncommon needs. These bookstalls are open every day from 8:30 in the morning to 6:30 p.m. except poor days and very special holidays. Even in a small space, books are packed very effective manner, preventing the damages caused by insects. Book lovers should express gratitude to these bookshop owners for catering to the needs of literary motivated people. Anyone who visits Colombo should come to this place at least once.
Now look at a few court items. The Colombo Magistrate Court today ordered a release of former Minister S.M. Chandrasena, who was in custody on bail on surety bail of 50,000 rupees and two personal bails of 5 million rupees each. The foreign travel ban has also been imposed on him. Former Minister S.M. Chandrasena was taken into custody on the Bribery Commission on the suspicion of committing an offence of corruption by distributing seed corn purchases at a cost of 25 million rupees in order to be distributed at a concessionary rate among the poor farmers of Anuradhapura district in 2014. Among his friends and supporters, deviating from the legal process in order to obtain personal benefits during the presidential election conducted that year. The case will be taken up for hearing on the 9th of January next year. The son-in-law of parliamentarian Rohita Begunaradana, Danushka Virakodi, was released on today on two personal bails of 2 million rupees each under the order by the Mathugam Magistrate Court. He has been ordered in custody until today after being taken into custody recently regarding illegally assembled jeep vehicle and later surrendering to the Mathugam Magistrate Court. Meanwhile, Danushka Virakodi was also presented before the Mathugam Magistrate Court. He was taken to court from the Malamal from Kalathara. Rasika Buddhika Vitana, the son of the parliamentarian Jagat Vitana, also appeared before the Mathugam Magistrate Court today after being bailed out of a motion to appear in the same case. He was in custody previously.
A 5-year action plan on the National Child Protection Policy has been implemented. A media briefing in this connection was held in Colombo today. Secretary to the Ministry of Women and Child Affairs, Kandy Asela, said that the National Child Protection Authority was established by involving all relevant parties. He stated that the policy framework was developed in collaboration with all coordinating institutions, including civil society organizations, non-governmental organizations, and entities working with children who have been victims of abuse. He explained that every related sector had been engaged in the process of formulating the policy. Director of the National Child Protection Authority, Anoma Sirivardhana, said that the 5-year action plan had been prepared as part of the overall child protection policy framework. She added that cabinet approval for this had been granted on the 1st of July and that necessary provisions had already been allocated for its implementation.
Appointment to the Sri Lanka National Commission for the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, was held recently with the patronage of Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya. The event was held at the Ministry of Education in Nisrupaya Bathuramulla, the Minister of Education, Higher Education and Vocational Education. Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya was appointed as the chairperson of the National Commission of UNESCO, while the Secretary to the Ministry of Education, Nalaka Kalueva, was appointed as the Vice Chairperson. The primary objective of establishing this commission is to facilitate a collaboration among the relevant ministries in implementing UNESCO's key focus areas of education, science, culture, mass communication, social sciences and environmental in line with the national development goals.
Students from Veera Colonel Niyamal Palipana Vidyalaya Ibbagamur and Thawalla Dhammaloka Mahavidyalaya Kuliapatiya had the opportunity today to take part in the Vision program organized by the Presidential Secretariat for School Children. This program is conducted jointly by the Presidential Secretariat, the Ministry of Education and the Department of Communication of the Parliament to provide students with a broader understanding of the workings of government. Senior Additional Secretary to the President, K.N.M. Kumarasinghe, delivered an insightful lecture on the role of the executive and the importance of the rule of law. In line with the program's environmental education goals, valuable plant saplings were symbolically gifted to the participating schools to highlight the importance of environmental conservation.
Ramadan is a popular seasonal fruit which is available in plenty these days. The tropical fruit attracts the eye of each and everyone during this season. Today we decided to delve into the details of this seasonal fruit. Ramadan, which is an endemic fruit to the tropical areas of South Asia, can be commonly seen in every zone. This fruit occupies a high status among popular fruits of the country and is equally liked by one and all, irrespective of the age barrier. Ramadan tree, which belongs to the Spindeca family, is botanically named Neapialium lapaceum, and it is the Ramadan season of Sri Lanka now. And if one travels anywhere in Colombo, Gampaha, or even in busy streets of Peta, Ramadan sellers can be seen in plenty. While tasting Ramadan, everyone is looking for the fleshy variety with sweet taste. The main reason for this has been the white-colored kernel, or the edible part of the fruit is only conserved. The Ramadan seed, which is discarded, can be of immense use. A group of researchers have found that the Ramadan seed contains several chemical agents that can be used in the treatment for cancer from the early stages of it. Ramadan, which has plenty of antioxidants, is also favorable in treating diabetes. Ramadan is also rich in vitamin C and such helps in digestion as well. There are a number of varieties of Ramadan, namely Maladana Special, Malayan Red, Malayan Yellow, Java Special, Java Lambukola, and many others. In Sri Lanka, when we talk about Ramadan, Malavala comes in mind automatically. The reason being the Ramadan grows successfully and richly in Malavana area in Gampaha. Fertility of the soil contributes heavily in this regard. Many residents of the area make a daily earning from the Ramadan cultivation, although certain people cultivate the tree in their home gardens and others do so in mega scale. The fruit is being enjoyed irrespective of age and should be careful in order to taste this magnificent tropical fruit. Now on to foreign news. United Nations Refugee Agency has said more than 1.5 million Afghan nationals have been deported from Iran since January.
The Iranian government has accused these individuals of spying on behalf of Israel. The agency reports that by early July, approximately 50,000 Afghans were being deported from Iran each day. Many deportees have alleged that they were subjected to violence and that their property was confiscated while in Iran. The Iranian government has stated that over 4 million undocumented Afghans are currently residing in the country and that a grace period was granted until July for those without legal documentation to leave voluntarily. Citing police sources, Iranian media has claimed that some Afghan migrants have ties to Israel's Mossad intelligence agency. Reports from Iranian outlets also mention arrests linked to these espionage allegations.
Now to sports news. 8 events of the 49th National Sports Festival commenced today. A large number of players participated in these, representing all provinces. Gymnastic events commenced today at Sugadasa Indoor Stadium in Colombo. These contests will go on for 3 days. Swimming events of the National Sports Festival also commenced today at the Sugadasa swimming pool with the participation of players representing all 9 provinces. Badminton matches commenced at Mercantile Services Badminton Courts. The finals will be held at 4 p.m. on the 3rd of the month. Table tennis matches will be hosted by St. Thomas's Indoor Stadium in Mount Lavinia. That's it for tonight's English News telecast. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Good night.